Top 10 most expensive stones in the world. Pricier than diamonds. Diamonds may be the symbol of luxury, but they're nowhere near the most valuable stones on Earth. Tonight, you're about to see 10 gemstones so rare, so impossibly expensive, that even the world's richest collectors struggle to find them. Some cost 10 times more than diamonds. Some appear only once in a generation. And one stone on this list is so scarce, auctions refuse to estimate its real price. Before we open this countdown, tell me in the comments, which stone do you think will be the most expensive? Most viewers get it wrong. And the reveal at number 1 will surprise you. While you're here, press and hold that like button so this video reaches more gemstone lovers around the world. Now, let's step inside the vault and uncover the top 10 most expensive stones in the world, pricier than diamonds themselves. In first place, painite, the stone once thought to be impossible. Painite is the kind of gemstone that sounds like myth, a mineral so rare that for decades, only one crystal was known to exist anywhere on Earth. It was discovered in the 1950s by British mineralogist Arthur Payne while he was studying stones from Myanmar. The crystal looked like garnet, but something in its optical behavior didn't match. After testing, scientists realized they were looking at a new mineral entirely, one containing boron, zirconium, calcium, and aluminum arranged in a structure nature almost never creates. For years, museums listed painite as the world's rarest gemstone, with only a single specimen documented. Later, a second was found, then a third. Even today, despite new discoveries in Myanmar, faceable stones remain incredibly scarce. Most painite is dark, included, and too fractured to cut. Gem-quality pieces, clean, transparent, and well-formed, are so few that collectors can name them individually. Prices can reach $60,000 per carat, but in truth, the market value is almost impossible to define because stones rarely appear for sale. Painite's color ranges from reddish-brown to deep burnt orange, with flashes of pink under strong light. It's not a stone sought for brilliance or fire, but for what it represents, a mineral that should not exist, formed only when pressure, chemistry, and geological timing align in a near-impossible combination. Holding a piece of painite feels like holding a geological error, a brief moment in Earth's history where all the variables lined up by accident. Among the world's rarest and most expensive stones, painite stands alone, not just as a gemstone, but as a reminder that nature still keeps secrets we can barely begin to understand. Ranked second, red diamond, the most mysterious diamonds on Earth. Among all valuable stones, red diamonds stand apart. Not because they are expensive, but because no one fully understands why they exist at all. Only a few dozen true red diamonds have ever been confirmed, and most weigh less than half a carat. Unlike blue or yellow diamonds, their color isn't caused by trace elements. There's no boron, no nitrogen, no impurities to blame. Instead, scientists believe the red comes from a distortion inside the diamond's crystal lattice, a twisting of atomic bonds created by unimaginable pressure deep within the Earth. In other words, the stone is red not because of what's inside it, but because the structure itself has been bent, stressed, or altered in a way that nature almost never allows. Most known specimens come from the Argyle mine in Western Australia, a mine now permanently closed. With its shutdown, the world's already tiny supply of red diamonds essentially froze. When one appears at auction, it makes headlines. Even small stones can reach over $1 million per carat. The largest and most famous, the Pricier red, is only 5.11 carats, yet considered priceless. But what fascinates collectors isn't just price. It's the feeling that these diamonds are geological accidents, moments where the Earth applied the exact wrong pressure at the exact right time, leaving behind a stone that should not exist. Under light, a red diamond doesn't glow softly like ruby. Its brilliance is sharp, crystalline, and fiery, flashes of pure scarlet trapped inside the hardest material on Earth, a stone born from stress, shaped by extreme pressure, and perfected by chance. Red diamonds are not gems of beauty alone. They are the rarest decisions nature ever made. Ranked third, Padparadscha sapphire, the sunset trapped in a stone. Padparadscha sapphire is one of the few gemstones that doesn't look like it was shaped by geology, but by a moment in the sky. Its color, a perfect blend of pink and orange, resembles the last glow of a tropical sunset, the instant where day slips into evening. This balance is incredibly hard for nature to create. If the pink is too strong, it becomes a pink sapphire. If the orange dominates, it becomes a fancy sapphire. Only a razor-thin window between the two becomes true Padparadscha. That rarity begins in Sri Lanka, where the stone was first named after the lotus blossom, Padma Raga, meaning lotus color. Miners often work rivers lined with ancient sediments, hoping to find crystals that show the delicate color harmony the gem is famous for. Most stones fail the test. Some are too brown, some too light, some too dark. Only a handful display the glowing, almost pastel-like warmth that collectors chase. And when a Padparadscha meets the criteria, clean, vibrant, and balanced, its value jumps dramatically. Top stones can reach $30,000 per carat, with record pieces selling for far more in private auctions. What makes the gem truly special, though, is the way it reacts to light. In daylight, it shines with a soft, peach-colored radiance. Under warmer light, it deepens into a quiet, rose-orange glow. It feels less like a stone and more like a moment captured and preserved. Padparadscha sapphire isn't famous for size or brilliance. It's famous because it holds a color nature almost never makes. The color of a fading sun, the color of calm waters at dusk, the color of something beautiful that lasts only for a second, unless it's trapped inside this stone. Ranked fourth, Taphite, the gem found by mistake. Taphite is one of the very few gemstones in history discovered not in the ground, but in a box of already cut stones. In 1945, gemologist Richard Taff noticed something strange in a parcel of spinels sold to him in Dublin. One stone reflected light differently, brighter, sharper, with a hint of lavender. A quick test proved the impossible. It wasn't spinel at all. It was a completely new gem species, one that no miner or dealer had ever identified. That single mistake changed gemology forever. Taphite is rare because nature almost never forms it. It requires a precise combination of magnesium, beryllium, and aluminum, elements that rarely fuse together inside the same rock. Even when they do, the crystal usually becomes spinel or chrysoberyl instead. Taphite appears only when conditions strike a tiny geological bullseye. Most stones come from Sri Lanka and Tanzania, but clean, faceable material remains extremely limited. Only a fraction of the discovered crystals are transparent enough to cut, and the finest ones show a soft purple glow that shifts subtly under different lighting. Top-quality taphite can reach $35,000 per carat, but collectors prize it less for price and more for its origin story. A gemstone that hid in plain sight, unnoticed by miners, dealers, and experts, discovered only because one man looked a little closer. Taphite reminds us that even in the modern world, with all our tools and knowledge, nature can still slip a secret into a box of ordinary stones and wait to see if anyone notices. Ranked fifth, grandidierite, the blue at the edge of the earth. Grandidierite is one of those gemstones that feels like it belongs to another world, because the places that produce it look like the edge of the earth itself. Its story begins in Madagascar, a land shaped by ancient winds, deep green forests, and coastlines carved by violent geological shifts. Here, hidden inside tight bands of metamorphic rock, a rare copper-iron mix creates a blue-green color unlike anything else, bright, oceanic, and slightly translucent, like light shining through seawater at dawn. What makes grandidierite valuable is not just its color, but its clarity. Most crystals are cloudy, fractured, or too dark. Gem-quality material, clean, transparent, and bright, is unbelievably scarce. For years, only fragments existed, and many collectors had never seen a single-faceted stone in person. Then in the 2010s, a new pocket was discovered in southern Madagascar. It produced stones clearer than any found before, and then, just as quickly, the pocket was exhausted. Top specimens can reach $20,000 per carat, but their true value comes from something else: scarcity with a countdown. Every new discovery is small, inconsistent, or already depleted by the time news reaches the market. Look at a fine grandidierite under the light, and you see a color caught between sea and sky, a reminder of the remote, wind-beaten place where it was born, a place where the world feels untouched, and where nature still creates beauty in secret. Grandidierite is not just rare, it is momentary, a gemstone that appears briefly in history, then fades back into the earth. Ranked 6th, Benetoite, the California blue that disappeared. Benetoite is a gemstone with a story that feels incomplete because its one great source is gone, and nothing else on Earth has ever replaced it. Discovered in the early 1900s in the mountains of San Benito County, California, this crystal-stunned gemologist with a blue so pure it seemed to glow from within. Under ultraviolet light, benetoite doesn't just fluoresce, it erupts into a neon blue halo, one of the strongest natural luminescences ever recorded in a gemstone. But its beauty comes with a problem. It forms only under extreme geological conditions that occurred in California, and almost nowhere else. In 2006, the only commercial mine closed. Since then, all benetoite on the market comes from old collections, forgotten safes, or the hands of small-scale hobby miners who hope to uncover a fragment in the leftover gravel. High-quality stones can reach several $1,000s per carat, not because of hype, but because there is no new supply. Once a piece is purchased, it rarely returns to the open market. Benetoite isn't just rare, it's finite, a gemstone with a hard ending written into its history. And every year that passes, the world has a little less of it. Ranked 7th, black opal, fire trapped in darkness. Among all opals on Earth, black opal from Lightning Ridge, Australia stands alone. A stone where blazing colors burst out of a deep, dark body like sparks rising from a night fire. What makes it extraordinary isn't just the colors, but the contrast. Most opals display soft pastels. Black opal does the opposite. It concentrates red, green, blue, and violet into electric streaks that seem to float above the stone's surface. The darker the base, the brighter the fire. This visual drama comes from tiny silica spheres arranged so perfectly that they bend light into pure color. A microscopic shift, even the width of a hair, and the magic disappears. The supply is brutally limited. Lightning Ridge is the only place on Earth that consistently produces true black opal, and the best pockets were mined decades ago. Today, miners dig through old shafts hoping to find a single piece worth keeping. Top stones can reach $15,000 per carat, and collectors pay more for patterns that look unreal. Rolling flashes, harlequin grids, swirling nebula-like flames. But price alone doesn't explain its appeal. Black opal feels alive. Hold it under the light, and the colors move, slow, shifting, unpredictable, as if something inside the stone is breathing. It is nature's neon light, trapped inside midnight, a rare combination of geology and imagination that only Lightning Ridge has ever produced. Ranked 8th, Musgravity, the gem that almost shouldn't exist. Musgravite is one of the few gemstones on Earth that feels like a geological accident, something nature created once, hesitated, and almost never repeated. It was first found in the remote Musgrave Ranges of Australia, a landscape shaped by ancient heat and pressure strong enough to fuse minerals in ways that rarely happen anywhere else. Gemologists initially didn't believe the stone was real. It looked like taphite, behaved like chrysoberyl, yet matched neither. For years, musgravite existed only as a scientific anomaly. Then a single facetted crystal appeared, clear, transparent, unmistakably gem quality. That discovery changed everything. Musgravite can form only when temperature, pressure, and trace elements line up perfectly for thousands of years. If the conditions slip even slightly, the mineral transforms into something else entirely. That's why, for a long time, fewer than 10 confirmed gemstones existed. Today, tiny amounts come from Sri Lanka, Tanzania, and Madagascar. But clean stones remain unbelievably scarce. True gemstones can reach $35,000 per carat, not because they're flashy, but because they are almost impossibly rare. Muted purples, smoky grays, hints of green. Musgravite doesn't shout for attention. Collectors chase it for a different reason, because it represents a moment when nature broke its own rules. A gem that shouldn't exist, yet somehow does. Ranked ninth, alexandrite, the stone that changes its destiny and yours. If imperial jadeite is the stone of emperors, then alexandrite is the stone of transformation. A gem that refuses to stay the same color under the same sky. At first glance, it appears to be a deep forest green, the kind you'd expect to see in an emerald. But move it under candlelight, and something astonishing happens. The stone turns red. Not a soft blush or muted pink, but a vivid wine-red glow that seems to ignite from its core. This is not a trick of light. It is a geological miracle. For alexandrite to form, the Earth has to perform a combination so unlikely it borders on impossible. Beryllium, a lightweight element almost never found near. Chromium, the metal responsible for emerald green, must fuse together under high pressure inside metamorphic rocks. In nature, these two elements rarely meet. They are born in different geological environments, separated by deep crustal processes. And yet, in a few places in the world, they did. The first discovery shocked gemologists in 1830s Russia, near the Ural Mountains, a region wrapped in snow, iron, and political upheaval. Legend says the miners who found it were confused. A green stone in daylight, a fiery ruby under lamplight. It felt alive, unpredictable, as if the mineral itself were choosing how and when to reveal its true identity. That duality gave alexandrite a reputation unlike any other gemstone. Mystics saw it as a symbol of adaptability, intuition, and sharp decision-making. Merchants considered it a stone of fortune in negotiation. Collectors fell in love with its ability to hold two truths at once. But the world's supply of high-quality alexandrite is painfully small. The original Russian deposits that produce the finest stones are long exhausted. Sri Lanka, Brazil, and East Africa offer new sources, but only a tiny percentage display the dramatic color change that defines museum-grade material. And when you find a stone that does, a stone that turns green to red with shocking clarity, you've found something incredibly rare. Top-quality alexandrite can reach $70,000 per carat, placing it firmly among the world's most valuable gems. But the price isn't what makes it extraordinary. What makes alexandrite unforgettable is that every time you see it, it becomes something entirely different. A gem that rewrites its own appearance and challenges the way you see the world around it. A stone that changes color, changes perception, and, according to some collectors, changes destiny. Ranked 10th, jadeite imperial green, the $10 million stone of emperors. Among all green stones on Earth, only one was powerful enough to influence royal marriages, political alliances, and the rise of entire dynasties. That stone is imperial jadeite. To understand why it sits among the world's most expensive gems, you need to step back into the royal courts of 19th century Myanmar. Caravans crossing mountain passes, merchants protected by armed escorts, and inside velvet-lined chests, pieces of jade so vivid, so glowing, that Chinese envoys described them as green fire suspended in water. This was not jewelry. This was currency, diplomacy, and prestige woven into one stone. But imperial jadeite is not merely rare. It is extremely difficult for nature to create. Everything must align perfectly. Chromium levels must reach a razor-thin balance. Pressure must remain stable for thousands of years. Even a microscopic fracture can erase millions in value, and true imperial green appears in only a fraction of mined material. When a flawless cabochon is placed under light, it doesn't sparkle like a diamond. It seems to glow from within, as if the stone is holding its own secret source of light. Collectors call this water-bright transparency, an effect so prized that elite pieces have passed through the hands of emperors, warlords, and billionaires. Today, nearly all world-class jadeite still comes from northern Myanmar, a region marked by political tension, intermittent mine closures, and unpredictable supply. This instability has turned the stone into an investment class of its own. In auctions across Hong Kong and Geneva, a single imperial green bangle has surpassed $10 million, while top-grade stones quietly trade in private sales for even more. But value alone isn't what places jadeite on this list. Unlike most gemstones whose worth comes from geology or rarity, jadeite carries something deeper: heritage, a sense of status that no modern stone can reproduce, a legacy of belief in prosperity, purity, longevity, and spiritual strength. For many collectors, imperial jadeite isn't simply the most valuable jade ever found. It is the green heartbeat of an empire, preserved inside a single stone. As we reach the end of this journey through the world's most expensive stones, one thing becomes clear. Rarity isn't just about beauty. It's about history, danger, impossible geology, and the few moments in Earth's timeline when nature created something it will never make again. If today's countdown surprised you, or if you discovered a gemstone you never knew existed, let me know in the comments which the stone shocked you the most. I read every comment and I reply to as many as I can. And if you want more stories like this, more forgotten treasures, more impossible minerals, more mysteries hiding beneath our feet, make sure you press and hold that like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell. Because here on Gemstone Kingdom, every week, a new secret of the earth is revealed. Thank you for watching, and remember, somewhere out there, the next billion-dollar stone is still waiting to be found.